Welcome, everybody, to The Early Edge. My name, of course, is Sia Nejad, otherwise known as the Counselor, taking over today for AB as he is still laid up. But guess what? He's in the chat. Listen, let's look at the recap screen. Let's see what we did yesterday. A pretty good day yesterday, actually. We had EC completely going off. This guy is on a nice little run. Chip Patterson, great day from BPE Friday. I hit 2 out of 3. One thing I want to mention here is that you might see a pick on this recap screen that you didn't see yesterday, and it's true. It's because you saw it 2 days ago for a head-to-head 72-hole tournament matchup. It was Ricky Fowler minus 130 over Aaron Wise. Well, Ricky Fowler beat Aaron Wise so badly that Wise didn't even make the cut. Ricky won by 10 or 11 shots. So we hit that one from Wednesday, and, of course, we went 1 for 1 yesterday with the golf picks. A pretty good day. Again, congratulations, everybody. 3 for 3 EC. That is amazing. And there's a lot of college basketball on there, which reminds me, of course, of March Madness. So listen, March Madness, it's almost here. And you know what that means? It means brackets. Come lock in your spot for the 2023 Early Edge March Madness Bracket Challenge as we all compete against each other for free for tournament glory and prizes too. Simply scan the QR code on screen or go to tinyurl.com Early Edge Bracket to lock in your spot right now. Now, listen, do you want to talk trash to me and to Coach and to guys like Propstarz and Micah and Jamie and Bob? You do, right? So actually scan that QR code right now and make sure you sign up because that's going to be really, really fun. Let's bring in, speaking of those guys, let's bring in the stars of the show. We've got an embarrassment of riches today, an embarrassment of riches. We've got Jamie, we got Bob, we've got Micah, we got Alex, a.k.a. Propstarz. Jamie, let me start with you, man. How's it going? How's everything going today?
Oh, we're rocking, man. We got a nice slate of NBA tonight, so I'm excited to watch that and hopefully get some bread for all the people in the chat.
I love it. What I don't love is the Giants moniker in the background. You see some Washington Commanders stuff behind me. We're going to let that slide today. And I'll tell you, everybody, stay tuned because we've got a lot of NBA picks, a lot of really smart NBA picks, a lot of NCAA picks as well. Bob, how's it going?
Good, Counselor. Good to meet you. Good to be on a show with you. Yeah, I'm with Jamie. I'm a diehard Giants fan, so we got you 2-1. I also posted the Knicks on my Twitter last night. I tried to get it on the site because that line did flip quickly, but I'm glad to see the Knicks cash one last night and a lot of college basketball today.
Hey, the Knicks are playing good ball. We'll see what happens in the playoffs. I'm not going to hold the Giants thing against you. I lied. I'm probably going to hold the Giants thing against you. Micah, good to do a show with you. How are you?
Good to be on with you, and congratulations on getting this Sunday morning hosting gig. Miss AB. AB's my guy, but you are now my guy. So let's go.
That's what I'm trying to pile up my guys. And I just got one from Micah, so that's really good. Got him in my corner. No offense, AB. Alex, Propstarz. I'm always doing shows with you. I'm usually not on this side of it, though. How are you today?
Cousin Sia, it is so great to see you. Amazing job hosting already. Super impressive. Wanted to give a quick shout out to AB in the chat, hoping he is on the mend, starting to feel better. Good morning, Micah. Good morning, Bob. Good morning, Jamie. I am fired up. Saturday, Jamie mentioned great NBA slate in front of us. I had a tough day yesterday, but that means I'm ready to have a big bounce back day, Sia.
I love it. And by the way, I talked to Alan yesterday, and he's definitely still on the mend, but he's well enough that we could talk some pop culture yesterday. We were having a conversation for a good 5 to 10 minutes about just music groups from like the 2000s, like Train, in the 90s and 80s, like Blues Traveler. Good conversation with Alan. He is the actual best. I can't wait for him to be back, which will be just in a couple days, if not sooner. We got a couple storylines before we get into the bets, gentlemen. And Propstarz, I want to start with you because there's a fight in the cage tonight, and it's with a very popular name. What are we talking about?
Yeah, huge fight in the cage tonight. We're talking Jon Jones making his long-awaited return. In addition to a 3-year layoff, he is going to make his heavyweight debut. I think it's easy to say that Jon Jones, he is the absolute GOAT. He has a 26-1 record. I think if you followed him, you know that he's really undefeated. Making the jump from light heavyweight to heavyweight, going to be super fascinating. Getting thrown right into the thick of it against Cyril Gane, who is an excellent fighter, #1 contender as well. So this is a really interesting matchup, both stylistically just seeing what Jones looks like, 20 or 30 pounds on his frame, how that translates, if there's ring rust. Also was announced by Dana White that the winner of this fight will fight Stipe Miocic, who will be cage side tonight, probably make an appearance in the cage after this fight concludes. But super fascinating fight. Jon Jones actually opened as a slight underdog and is now currently sitting around minus 175. So lots of money obviously pouring in on his side. Can't wait to see this fight, though.
Oh, there's no question. This is going to be a really interesting fight. And I think it's really interesting how he was a dog to start out with. And I'm not a UFC expert by any, or MMA or a fighting expert at all, but I would have thought Jon Jones would have been the favorite there. So I'm really curious to see how that pans out. And Micah, let's move to you real quick, because, we have a lot of NBA and NCAA picks, but it's things like, UFC or MMA and things like NASCAR that are some of the sports that sometimes, Micah, get forgotten about when we have NBA and NCAA stuff. But there's certainly edges there to gain from a betting standpoint. And there's a lot of interest this weekend in particular, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. This is the 30th race all time at Las Vegas Motor Speedway on the 25th anniversary. I remember like yesterday, Mark Martin winning. Lots of change, especially with this new car now. So last year was the first year we had the new car. We saw lots of lead changes, lots of winners, 19 winners in 36 races. I've never seen that before. I'm sure it's happened. But this shows you how much parity is involved with the teams now. So the elite cars do not always win like they used to. Las Vegas Motor Speedway in Fontana last week used to be tracks that only champions and winners and elite programs won races at, but that's not the case anymore. But still, I think this week we're going to see a guy like Ross Chastain. So last year he led the most laps in both races, finished third in the spring race, runner-up in the fall race, led the most laps in each race. He's a guy you're going to look at. You can find him in the 8 or 9 to 1 range. Joey Logano, the track's active leader, 8.5 average finish, 3 wins. He won last fall. He's looking really good right now. He's another guy, but he's about in the 8 to 1 range as well. And who else? Kyle Busch with Chevy. He got the monkey off his back, won last week at Fontana. New team with Joe Gibbs, 16 years. Now he's with Reborn, and he's got a car that led laps last season in Las Vegas, driven by Tyler Reddick. Kyle Busch could win this race. He only won 1 race on this home track in Las Vegas, 2009, and I think he's going to run well here and win most of his matchups. You're going to have to lay money on those. And then Kyle Larson, he had the Gremlins last week, put him down a few laps, but this is a track that he's always been good at, has a win, 5 top 5s, and an 11th place average finish. So those are the 4 guys that I'm looking at right away. I'm going to look at matchups. This is a track where matchups should hold well. Last year we had 13 different drivers lead a lap and 11 different drivers between the 2 races. So should be a lot of lap lead changes, but the cream will rise to the top towards the end. So good luck with that. And also one other thing on the NBA, we have a fantastic matchup with the Rockets and Spurs, who I think are going to just stand in place and wait till the last minute or something. I don't know who's going to win, because I don't know what Pop is doing. He's allowing this to happen, and he's managing well somehow. And every once in a while they play it brilliantly, and you're like, what happened? And then the Rockets, they've got players, but they don't want to. So this, the lottery balls mean a lot to a few of these teams right now. And I'm just curious to win, and I don't have the guts to bet either side of the Rockets or Spurs.
Yeah, it's really interesting. A lot of these teams constantly are getting the lottery balls, and we're not really seeing the payoff, right? It's like, okay, so Houston's going to be up there again. Let's see what they turn that into. Maybe it's a long-term plan. And by the way, the race, that's tomorrow, right? Are you going to have any picks on that, whether it be on SportsLine or on this show?
Yes, I have an article already posted. Top 20 prediction finish, a little write-up on each driver.
Everybody, if you're not already a member of SportsLine, there's one of 1,000 reasons to join. And I'm sure Mikey has some stuff on that race as well. He's big on NASCAR among all the other sports as well. We're finally going to get to the picks, ladies and gentlemen. But before we do that, let's hear a message from our partners.
Welcome to the UEFA Europa League on Paramount Plus.
What a night!
Your home for more ultra-competitive, world-class soccer, where Europe's elite and soccer's Cinderellas pump out that one-of-a-kind white-knuckle excitement that grows with every cut, every cross, and each and every... The UEFA Europa League. Stream every match live exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Okay, we are back, and I'm really excited that Jaime Mazauskas is on this show today because I've never done a show with him or Bob or Micah. So, Jaime, I'd like to start with you. You've got some picks in the association, 3 in particular, 2 of which involve a couple of superstars. So, Jaime, you ready to give them out? On mute.
On mute. Charger was not plugged in. My bad. I am here.
Oh, no.
Sia, I hear what you're saying about the Commanders. I really do. And
oh no!
And
was that a Giants mug?
I took that personally. I changed the hat, and I just want to remind everybody in the chat that there's one team in the NFL who was the absolute best against the spread this season, and it was the New York Football Giants.
Fair.
So we'll
totally
just leave it at that.
Can I just say, Jaime, before you give your 3 picks out, because Micah brought up Joe Gibbs. And I got to be honest, that was literally the last time Joe Gibbs' first tenure with Washington was the last time Washington was relevant. That was literally 30 years ago. Now, his second stint, they were okay, but it's a really sad state of affairs when I have to go back 30 years to find relevance with Washington. So listen, you can talk all the smack you want, Jaime, but for now, let's talk some NBA smack.
All right. So first pick we like tonight, I'm going Donovan Mitchell over 25.5 points. He's hit this number 6 of the last 8, and the Pistons are allowing 29th most points in the NBA. And they're bottom half in the league against shooting guards. So I like him to cover this number. He had 32 against them in the previous matchup. I think he continues that trend tonight. Another pick I really love is Brook Lopez over 12.5 points. It's not the best matchup, but he has hit this number 2.5 times against Philadelphia this year and 7 of the last 9. He gets around 30 minutes on the court, so he's going to have the opportunity to score some points. And usually when he hits his over, he'll blow by it. And then finally, I like Bradley Beal under 26.5 points and rebounds. He literally just faced the Raptors the other night. He did not hit this number. He did not hit his over in points as well. I like that to repeat. The Raptors have a pretty solid defense. They're top 10 against points and rebounds. And he has hit this under 13 in the last 20. So I think there's a lot of value there. Those are my picks for today. Let's get this bread and get some winners.
So I look at Bradley Beal's name, and as you might imagine, I am a Washington Wizards fan as well, just being from the Washington area. And as a Washington Wizards fan, I respect guys like Damian Lillard and Bradley Beal for kind of sticking around and being loyal to the teams that kind of gave them a chance to start out with. But there's a certain point where I feel like Dame and Bradley Beal probably have to go somewhere else and find some trophies or at least some deep playoff runs, because I think Bradley Beal is an absolute superstar. And on the right team, I think everybody would know that. So it's just taking the under there on his points and rebounds. I certainly like that play, but I'm taking the over on him maybe going to another team because I just don't want to see him languish for his entire career. With that said, now Propstarz, you've got a couple NBA picks as well. Let's hear about them.
Yeah, I do indeed. See, first up, I've got a Donovan Mitchell prop, a little bit different than Jamie's. I'm going under a combined 9.5 rebounds and assists. I'll explain why. I'll also get into why I don't think this conflicts with Jamie's bet on his points. But yeah, first up, this is one of the biggest spreads we've seen this season. The Cavs are 15-point favorites over a Pistons team who are going to be without multiple starters. Basically, it looks like a G League team with the roster they're putting out. I think there's a good chance that we see Donovan Mitchell maybe not play a full complement of minutes in this game. He's actually been held under 9.5 combined rebounds and assists in 11 of 13 games where he's logged fewer than 32 minutes. He's averaging just a combined 5.3 rebounds and assists over that 13-game sample. As far as this conflicting with Jamie's prop on Mitchell's points, the two props aren't necessarily correlated in my opinion. How I approach these peripheral combination lines, like a rebound and assist prop, for example, especially on guards who are higher variance compared to forwards and center, which is due to their lower baseline, lower output kind of to start with. It's far less matchup based, and I'm more so looking for a number that kind of deviates from his average, coupled with additional indicators that could lead to reduction in minutes, point spread being the obvious example here. Compared to handicapping a scoring prop, that's something I'm going to look more at the matchup, focus more on the qualitative side of things, whereas rebound and assist props are just heavily quantitative. So, really like Donovan Mitchell under 9.5 rebounds and assists. My other prop, put both of these out on the site already this morning. So if you are a SportsLine member, you have had access to both of these plays, is Giannis over 11.5 rebounds. This number is just too low for him, too low to pass up. Giannis, he's averaging 12 rebounds per game this season, second in the NBA, looking to capture his first rebounding title of his career. I think this number should be 12.5 personally. He's recorded at least 12 rebounds in 29 to 49 games this season. An additional component of this play that I really like is that when Giannis gets 30 plus minutes, he has cashed this prop in 26 out of 39 appearances. Playing the 76ers tonight should be a competitive game. I think there's a really good likelihood that he plays 30 plus minutes. Plus, if you look at his historical splits against the 76ers, he has absolutely just really licked his chops when he faces Embiid. Looks like he really gets up for the game. He's had 13 in his previous 13 head-to-head matchups with Embiid. He has cashed this prop 12 times while averaging nearly 15 rebounds per game. So love Giannis over 11.5 rebounds, Donovan Mitchell under 9.5 combined rebounds and assists.
The chat cracks me up sometimes. And Alex, I don't mean to stray, pun intended, from your picks, both of which I love, and both of which, again, I mean, at least with the Giannis one, I think you said was on SportsLine. So maybe that line has moved just a little bit. I'm not sure. But the point is, it's all the more reason to become a member of SportsLine. But the chat, I think it was Daniel Coignor, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. He said, and I quote, and Alex, I want a response here. He said, "Ooh, a cat." Your response?
I think he should be saying, "Ooh, that's the most amazing creature in existence."
Well, perhaps the glass is half full and I misinterpreted the comment, because maybe that's what Daniel meant.
That's what I'd be saying, Sia.
Yes, that's probably accurate. Okay, so listen, credit to Jake the Snake, who's on the ones and twos and is super, super busy with a couple people out. He has, we just did some NBA stuff, and now we're going to properly transition to some college basketball. So everybody put in the chat right now, if you can, put in Jake is the actual best. You got to put the actual in there so you really mean it, right? Put in the chat, Jake is the actual best if you can. And by the way, if you haven't hit the like button, what are you doing? Hit the like button. Bob, I want to move to you because we're talking college basketball. You have two Big East teams in there, except not really, because Syracuse abandoned the Big East. Me, again, as a Georgetown Hoyas fan, when Syracuse left the Big East, they really, truly left the Big East. They left the Big East behind, and it really hasn't been the same. Now, there's a lot of good teams in there. You have one of them in there that's on a nice little hot streak, but I just want to put it out there because I haven't had the chance to do it yet. Syracuse, shame on you for leaving the best college basketball conference in the country. With that said, it looks like Syracuse is one of your picks. Let's talk about both of them.
Yeah, and since we're having fun today, I had to back up my boy Jamie. See, I'm sorry not to gang up on you. I had to take a little drink from my Giants from my Giants Super Bowl mug. But yeah, I'm going to go to Syracuse and Wake Forest first. I'm usually a stats guy, and I look at all the stats and watch all these teams like it's my job. And for this one, I'm going to stick to some fun things today. So Syracuse is retiring Jerry McNamara and Hakeem Warwick's jerseys from the 2003 National Championship game. I'm sure Carmelo Anthony will be there. It's senior night, and sometimes teams on senior night sometimes come out like a little flat, which burned me last night with Utah Tech. However, I just like this matchup because one of Wake Forest's prime scorers, I think his Monsanto, is down with a torn patella in his knee. He's done for the season. Besides Tyler Appleby, he was one of their main scorers, especially from the perimeter. And then with this Syracuse 2-3 defense, they're going to struggle to score from the floor. They have some big men, but also Syracuse has big men inside. Syracuse is more well-rounded at home, and without Monsanto, Tyler Appleby's going to have to pick up the slack. But like I said, the 2-3 defense is going to make Wake Forest struggle from the floor. And then for my second pick, I'm going to go late, not really late night, but 7:30. Another big matchup: UConn Villanova. I'm going to take Villanova +3 here. The only +3 I currently see is currently at Caesars. Everywhere else has +2 and +2.5 out there. Both teams are playing very well right now. However, I really don't want to get in front of this Villanova train. Overall and more athletically, I think UConn, yes, is the better team, but Villanova has been performing very well with a healthy Justin Moore. Cam Whitmore's playing out of his mind. And if it comes down to, especially with this spread +3 at home, I want to back the team with the best free throw percentage in the entire country at 82%. They knocked down very clutch free throws in that Seton Hall game, which was a kind of a trap line. I know a bunch of people were on Seton Hall, and at home, their defense is locked down. I know that UConn can put up a lot of points, but they tend to struggle on the road offensively, especially against bigger teams. They've been very successful the past 3 games with outscoring their opponents, but that was against like DePaul and St. John's. So I really don't want to get in front of this Villanova train. I'm gladly take the only 3 I see out there at Caesars.
I love it. I think Villanova's playing really good ball right now. Some desperate ball at that. So, Bob, I think that's a great play. And in spite of my hatred to Syracuse and apparently all things New York, that's the stance I have to take today since you guys threw the New York thing in my face. Speaking of, it's funny because Mikey's in the chat. If you guys don't already know, Mike McClure is in the chat. And he said something to the effect of, wow, those mugs look at least 11 years old, which is, quiet hate right there because he's a Kansas City Chiefs fan. So his mugs are brand new. So I thought that was pretty funny.
1986 Super Bowl.
It's actually incredible that we are holding the same exact mug.
Shout out my dad, who's also a diehard Giants fan.
Yeah, this is my dad as well. This is completely unplanned.
This is a coordinated attempt and attack at me, and I don't appreciate it.
Go Eagles.
Don't ouch. This is a train wreck right now. So we got to move on. Nice picks, Bob. But Micah, you got a couple picks in here, and I see one of them has to do with Alabama. Can I tell you, Micah, anytime I see Alabama, whether it's college basketball or college football, I think of Keith Jackson. And I want to try to imitate his unbelievable voice, but I know I'll screw it up. So rest in peace, Keith Jackson. But that's what I think of. So start us off with the Alabama play.
Alabama, yes.
Nice.
This is a team I have them rated number 1 in my overall ratings. Number 1 atop the chart over college basketball. I had them 2.5 for this game, and it comes out I'm getting 1.5 too on. So I've got to bet it just because of the value presented to me when I'm looking at 3.5, 4 points edge. And they've only lost 4 games this season. Didn't lose any at home. All 4 at home since they lost at Tennessee. They've won their last 4, didn't cover the last 3, but those were spreads 9 points or more. And the defense is where I'm at. This is the 3rd best defensive team in the country as far as field goal percentage, 37% shots allowed. They get after it. And what I like about that is that great defense travels well and can expose any team's weakness. And I think A&M has some weaknesses. They've gone 7-1. Their last 8 games, covered all 7 of those games and been impressive at home. Only 1 loss, but Alabama is the best team in the nation right now. I think it's fair to say. And they've also been drawn into some controversy and some stuff that's gone on outside the basketball court that I think has helped them unite. And it's perfect time. March Madness to win the SEC tournament, win the NCAA tournament. They've got a mission and they're united. So that's part of it. I like the better team to win here, and Alabama is certainly the better team over Texas A&M. And the other one is the over 142 UNLV at UNR, or they like to call themselves Nevada now. But Nevada is a really good team at home. They're completely different from the road. 14-0 at home, 77 points per game scored. They're going to get after it, and UNLV is going to be motivated because they beat them earlier in the season at UNLV, and they've gone over 19-9 this season. UNLV, they're one of the better over teams in basketball. Sneaky good on the road too. 10-3 ATS on the road. So it's not a given. UNLV has kind of given up 2-5 their last 7 after a hot start, and Kevin Kruger deserves all kinds of credit for what he's done. I think they had 8 new players from the transfer portal this year. They started out great, just faded out. It happens a lot with kids that you have a long time, but these kids, a lot of them from Power 5 schools, a little disappointed right now with the way it's ending. But Nevada will get them sparked up and ready to run again. So this is going to be an over game, and we're going to go with Alabama taking the points.
Whoa, Nelly, do I like that Alabama pick? Hopefully some of you got that reference. Gentlemen, I think that's all the damage we can do. I got to thank the 4 of you. You guys, I couldn't have found a better foursome to help me along to host the Saturday morning edition of The Early Edge. With that said, guys, thanks a lot. Let's bring up the recap screen so we can go over all your picks. We got Micah, Alabama plus 1.5, and the UNLV Nevada over 142. Berg bets, Syracuse -1 and Villanova +3. Propstarz, Giannis over 11.5 rebounds and Donovan Mitchell under 9.5 rebounds and assists. And then finally, Jamie, Donovan Mitchell over 25.5 points, Brooke Lopez over 12.5 points, Bradley Beal under 26.5 points and rebounds. Well, there you have it. That's the Saturday edition. I'm filling in. Tomorrow, I'll be on the other side of it. I'll be giving out my own picks. I'll have a golf pick for you for sure. And I will certainly have an XFL pick for you because we got 3 Sunday XFL games, and I've been pretty hot in that department. So golf, XFL, you can expect that from me, but we're going to have a great show tomorrow morning with the entire regular crew. Listen, it's been a nice run. We had a nice show, and there's only one thing left to do. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all these tickets and go straight to the pay window for Propstarz, for Jamie, for Bob, for Micah, and of course, for Jake the Snake. This is the Early Edge, and we'll see you soon.